Okay, and green on my end.
And we're live.
All right, we are now live here on the new Red Star Roundtable kind of, I guess, YouTube podcast. Well, I guess not really a vodcast. Whatever it is. We are now live for our first ever show in this new format on the new platform. So incredibly excited to be here. I think we might have another host, Josh, who is running a little late. If he can pop in during the midst of the show, he will do so because we love Josh. But I'm not alone. My name is Mike, and I am here as always with Will. What is up, Will?
Oh, it's another day, man. I'm super excited about doing this on the new medium and seeing how it goes.
Yep, I think Josh just popped in. Josh, can you hear us, brother?
Can, fellas.
What is up, my man? We are live on our new show, the Red Star Roundtable. Now, so formally we had this show was on Facebook, and we did this on our Facebook group, but it was kind of confined there. So we wanted to have a new platform where more people could see it, and it also automatically archived it. So if I say "sit in chat," which was the name of the old show, I apologize. I'm going to apologize ahead of time.
Oh, I'm sure we'll all do it.
I thought we were starting at 9 now.
Yeah, 8:30.
8:30. Okay, that's why I'm late then.
I was like, when we started the show, I'm like, and Josh will be popping in here, and he did. So I'm kind of like a soothsayer, if you will. Anyways, man, dude, I am so stoked to be able to do this on a new platform. We're now up and running on Facebook, so if anybody wants to listen and chat and join the conversation, we are happy to listen along and stuff. But we got an awesome show ahead of us, but let's do a little housekeeping first. Will, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about Red Star Gaming?
So we're just a local gaming club. We're all just nerds that like to play. I know a lot of people think we only play Warhammer, but we play a little bit of everything. We try to promote as much positivity in the community as we can. We love to teach new players how to get into the games and what they need to do. But we also like to do a lot of charity things. We do a lot of food drives, and we raise money for hurricane victims and things like that. And we love to come together and roll dice and have fun. And I like to think of Red Star as my extended family.
Absolutely.
We are all out of San Antonio for those that are listening in for the first time. It's a great community, and if you're ever here in San Antonio, look us up. Somebody will be more than happy to play you.
Yeah, and Josh, tell a little what for those in our club. What is if you're gonna play a game with us, like what are you most likely gonna see or experience?
Well, it's usually good sportsmanship for sure. That's kind of one of our main things, and then just people just willing to just play games in and around town. Schedule a lot of laughs. Might drink a little bit.
Yeah, that's for sure. That usually some alcohol finds its way into the dice rolling, but yeah. But mostly we play. I would say comfortably. While you will see like a vast majority of tabletop games being played, we also play like the community gets together, plays online, PC gaming, console gaming, but mostly on the tabletop. Usually the Games Workshop games and some Dungeons and Dragons, and some other tabletop. But basically, if it has models and it has dice, there'll be people. Basically
Somebody will play with you.
Yeah, they'll play with you. That's kind of our MO. I always like now. It's like if you're gonna make a game and you want like the tabletop geeks, it's like you got to have some miniatures with the game. You know what I mean? Miniatures and maybe some cards, and then you'll have a bunch of people buy it, paint them up, and then play it.
Well, it's funny as we're sitting here talking about this. Before we started on YouTube tonight, we've done some other episodes, and one of our episodes was we did a Gamer Shark Tank, where we had local gamers that pitched their games that they wanted to start building a community for. And they had, just a few minutes to come on and tell about their game. And we talked to them. We asked questions about it. And every one of those games has grown since that day. And it's phenomenal to see that we're not exclusively Warhammer or Games Workshop, that we've had Infinity, we've had Malifaux, and all these other games that local players were passionate about and said, hey, come join me to play this game.
Yeah, it's so what's so awesome. It's because like I mean, I'm looking at my shelves here around my PC, and I've got all my Astra Militarum from 40K, but I also have this like sweet like setup. So I bought 2 Malifaux boxes after that show, and it just reminds you how beautiful. I mean, Games Workshop models are of course famous, but these Malifaux models are beautiful. I can't wait to get this on the tabletop. I also have yet to do my Necromunda gang that Will convinced me to get, but I'm excited to start. I'll probably start that next week now that I've painted all of my finished my Astra Mill and stuff like that. Josh, you been doing any hobbying this week? Anything you got going? Oh, wait, you know what? You're down a hand.
I'm down a hand, man. So
Yeah.
like it's like staring at models, just imagining them painting themselves, but it's not happening. You know.
That sucks. It's time to
I don't have the dexterity yet in my hand to even hold a paintbrush yet, but once I get back into it, man, I'm gonna finish off these salamanders. And luckily, I got a buddy painting my Blood Bowl guys for me.
Oh heck yeah, dude! That's what that's what I'm excited about. I think it's gonna go on pre-order at the end of this month. So the box looks sick.
Yeah, that's right when my my hobby funds come in for the month, so I'm looking forward to that too.
Hells yeah.
My hobby budget is gonna reset the same week that comes out.
Well, the good thing about this community is that while you're down a hand at the moment, there's plenty of people that'll be more than happy to help by lifting a paintbrush to try to help you out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've already got Andy helping me out with my Blood Bowl lizards, and
so now you're gonna
just a
get
few
good.
other things.
Yeah, you're gonna get amazing miniatures. See, I wouldn't ask Andy to do a squad of my guys because they would stand out as like, man, that squad looks amazing, and the rest of them look like crap. You know?
That's why I can't have people paint models and put them in my army, because then they're like, that one looks good. You didn't do that one.
What's great is he's letting me trade him like some electrical work and some plumbing for some painting, so
There you
that's
go.
going to be great.
Yeah, paint for labor. That's a good trade, man. I might have to take
Hell yeah.
I might have to take you up on that, or take him up on that. So I know we have here on the Red Star Gaming. We've had this Red Star Gaming YouTube, and we're kind of just starting to like really utilize it. Obviously, the Red Star Roundtables are going to be here. We're going to be streaming them live every other Sunday at 8:30. But also, Will, why don't you tell us about the other plans we have to make this community driven?
Yeah, so the great thing about this is that this is not just me and Mike. We're not monopolizing this channel. This is a literally a community channel. So we want not just Mike and I and Josh and I to be making all the content. We want the community to also participate. So not only are we going to have the Red Star Roundtable as part of the YouTube, we also want to have a playlist specifically for hobbying, because one thing that we're all very passionate about is getting new people into the games and helping them as much as we can. So we want to create a playlist specifically for helping our new players out. So whether it be like our first video we uploaded a couple days ago, it's me talking about stripping models and how I do it. So if you got any hobby tips or painting tips that you want to share to the community, send us those videos and we'll review them and we'll get them uploaded to the channel and have you be part of this experience with us.
Yeah, and we're also looking we're looking for the whole vibe that we're going for is kind of like this amateur look and feel, right? So even this show, it doesn't have a whole lot of production value, and we don't want that to stop you from being able to submit videos. Just because you can't put an intro and outro or color correct or white balance or any of that stuff, just get on your camera, just make sure it's lit well, and then we can hear you, and then do a quick video, just stuff that other people would be interested in seeing. Things like I could, just from personal experience, like I had no idea that brush soap was a thing until I found it on YouTube, like, you know, from a recommended video from painting. Changed my life, you know, as far as the longevity of how long brushes last. Every time I paint, I use paintbrush soap and wash the brush, and it's kept the tip for over 200 Astra Militarum models. You know, where normally I just ran roughshod on brushes. So those are the types of things, like how to use a wet palette, how to thin your paints, how to use shade. 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute videos, and then submit them to Will. You can contact him on Red Star Gaming or just leave a comment on here. and then we'll be happy to to post them up for you if they're all good.
Absolutely, and then like Mike said, this is unedited and raw, so you get to see us exactly how we are.
Right, right. Which is we don't have faces for we have faces for radio, which is why all you'll see is a community-driven spotlight on the as far as what you're looking at when you listen to the show.
Well, exactly. That's why you don't see our faces. We're not doing live videos looking at us. All the videos you see are from community events and games and our charity events and things like that. So all the pictures you see cycling through, that's just us as a community out having fun playing games.
Yep. Well, man, we got an awesome show in store today. Really great topic. And it's one that we've been kicking around like we totally should do this topic. But as always, one of the things we want to do at Red Star Roundtable, which we tried to do, what we successfully did with our previous shows when it was called Sit and Chat, is feature members of Red Star Gaming's community as guests on the show. So we'll be talking about a topic, and then we have people that we know are passionate about that topic, experts about that topic, come on the show to be able to give their take. So it's not just I'm not. The only thing I know about is graphic design and maybe making microwave nachos. That's my expertise. But we have an awesome show. Will, why don't you introduce our guests and what we're talking about today?
So we have 3 guests with us tonight. We have in our planning stages started calling this the Real Housewives of Red Star. And so we have 3 lovely guests. We have my lovely wife, Anna Teresa, here with us tonight. We also have Miss Gabby, who is the wife of one of our founding members of Red Star, and Miss Savannah, who is also a significant other of one of our members. But tonight we're going to be talking about ladies in gaming and their perspective of the community, of the games themselves, how they're marketed, and their experiences. And I'm super excited to talk about this tonight. And I'm going to let, from here on out, I'm going to let the ladies take over, and we're going to start hearing from them. So, Miss Gabby, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your experience is?
Well, am I supposed to say my age? I'm 36, I guess.
We don't have no details, but
So about myself, I've lived in San Antonio my whole life. The first time I got out of the state was to Oklahoma, and I was taken to the Oklahoma Bowl. So that's the first time I left Texas just to go to a Blood Bowl event. I have a daughter, and I've been married to, as you said, your founder, your fearless leader for going on 15 years and 18 years together. And he's taken me into his gaming world with him now.
So far, what's your gaming experience?
Well, we've been playing Magic for about 17 years, so that's pretty heavy in our household. There's we built a house out of my cards that we have. And when we bought all the actual booster boxes the other day, I told him I wanted to lay on the floor and have him throw them around me like if I was making a snow angel, but out of the cards. We have a lot of cards, but just recently started getting into D&D, and that freaking awesome. And I didn't want to have to paint anything, but I'm liking painting it just for the fact that they're already built. That's a plus for me. They're built, and then I just paint them however I want to. There's no right or wrong way with D&D. I put glitter on some of them
too, don't they?
Yeah, they're primed.
And you've been pumping them out like at a crazy rate.
Yes, I've been painting regularly. If
Yeah,
I can,
she's the exact opposite, right, of like your standard miniature collector, where we just have tons of the backlog. And she's like, she opens the package and paints it.
I had told Jay, I was like, look, I'm caught up on my stuff. You want me to start painting your armies? Like, let's do this.
not to shame him or anything, but
yeah, he shot me down. He said no.
The man's not here to defend himself. Now we're talking about all his unpainted Warhammer models. So also tonight with us, we have my wife, Anna Teresa.
Hello.
And what is your gaming experience so far?
Well, I actually had 0 experience with any kind of gaming outside of regular, just growing up playing board games and whatnot. And until I met Will a few years back,
We were talking about it. What was one of our first dates?
Our first dates, we played Wild West Exodus.
That's right. I know how to treat the ladies.
That's
there you
right.
go.
Won
That
me
sounds like a
over,
dream.
won me right over. I
Sweetheart Casanova over here.
say.
So
No, but so I really didn't know much about tabletop gaming or anything like that. But I grew up all over the world. I'm not giving out my age. I'm a little bit older than Will. But I grew up in Europe most of my life, and I'm from Mexico. And I served in the military most of my life, and Will introduced me to gaming. I got into, I explored a little bit of tabletop gaming and whatnot. And
but you prefer a very specific type of gaming, though.
I do. I prefer. I tried. I tried Warhammer and
You didn't care for it.
AOS.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for that as much. I got a little bit turned off to that. Just had a little bit of bad experience with some individuals or whatnot. I like skirmish.
So what's your main game right now?
Well, I like Malifaux a lot, and I like a lot of the Zombicide and
Dude, Zombicide rules.
Yeah,
I,
that's great.
She's a fiend with painting those doggone Zombicide models, and they're all like super ostentatious, which is hilarious because she really likes the metallic colors. So she's like, they're all wearing like faux shiny jumpsuit stuff.
They died at a rave.
Well, I spent most of my career in the military, and so I've Will introducing me to painting the models, and I find it very therapeutic to paint a lot of those models and playing those just painting the models and kind of finding those characters and playing a lot of those skirmish models. And I found I have found certain people in the community that I connect with, that I've met throughout the community, that I've befriended, that I like playing skirmish games with.
So if you ever make it over to our house, we have multiple game tables, and my wife cooks for everybody.
Oh,
So just if you ever come over here, it's a Mexican feast. You know, she goes all out cooking ribs and pico and God knows what else and everything. So
Caldo and
Now, I'd like to agree with something that Anna was saying, is that I think a lot of people do the painting to find those characters and because it's therapeutic. Like when I get home from a long day of work, man, sometimes I just like to sit down in front of my table, listen to some jams, and just steady, slow paint, man.
that's why I got into it.
And that's my biggest thing is that so I've been in all of my jobs. I joined the military at 17. I've lived in a male-dominated career my entire life. I've been off to war many times and whatnot, and so the gaming community being in a very male-dominated world is not something new to me. So that didn't throw me off in any which way, or put me off of the community. And so that's not a problem. But
Well, before we get too far into talking about
so
this,
anyways,
we're definitely going to talk about this. We have one more guest we want to introduce.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then we're actually going to get into the discussion portion of this episode. But Miss Savannah, would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself before we get too far into our discussion?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Savannah. I'm a younger gamer. This is kind of new to me. So I am 20 years old, but I started a couple of years ago playing Warhammer. I was introduced to it as a larger thing. I was introduced to it in 40K, but what I really fell in love with was Kill Team. So it's like the smaller version of it. It's a little bit easier to get into. For me, it's more manageable. I can get into and paint a whole kill team army in the time it would take to paint maybe one sort of unit for 40k game. So that's kind of my thing. I love to play kill team. I love the strategy that you have to put into it, and it kind of got me into loving this game. We all play Warhammer, and it's kind of fallen into one of my passions. I started out with video games, as I'm sure most of us did. But kind of getting introduced into the tabletop thing was really important for me because it's definitely, in a way, changed my life and my view on a lot of the different types of games. Like, I want to get into D&D, and of course the different types of like AOS, and then the smaller versions of that and such. So kind of new to it all, but I still love it all.
Yeah, you mentioned D&D, and me and Josh were like, the ring on the doorbell with all these books and minis and DM screen and dice.
Yes. I'm sure. And Tommy as well, my other half, he likes to he's writing a Crusade campaign right now. So I'm very excited for that. I'm super glad that Warhammer 40k introduced something like Crusade, because that has been such a change for us. And it's more of a narrative type play, which I've been looking for with Warhammer, because previously 40k kind of, for me, felt so competitive and so, like cutthroat almost, that I was looking for this narrative, easier thing to get into. So I'm very glad that Crusade is happening, and there's groups for it and communities for it now. So
in my opinion, I think Crusade is the best thing to happen to Warhammer 40k, and the best part of 9th edition. And to be, completely transparent, that is clearly my bias, and I am 100% going to sit here and admit it, but I think that is the best part and the best thing to happen to Warhammer and 9th edition, and I've been super excited about it.
Honestly, I mean, as far as my experience, I'd have to agree. As well as 100% transparency. I agree. It's definitely easier, and you can start off small. Like, I think you start off at 25. I believe that's what I started off, if I'm remembering correctly. You start off at 25 power level, which is nowhere near starting off of 1,000 points with Warhammer 40k. That's a lot if you think about it as somebody who's never played a tabletop game or even the genre before. So it's very inviting. It's very friendly.
It's a lot more manageable, and I know this is completely irrelevant to our discussion tonight. But my stepson, who is 12, and I have been playing, and his friend from school have been playing, and we've been playing 25 power games, and it's a lot more manageable for somebody to grasp the rules and get going into it without going, well, you got to have a 2,000 point list and play competitively right out the gate. So it's been a bit of a godsend for sure. Yeah. So let's get into our first question tonight. And Savannah, since we already have you here, what are your personal stories about getting into the hobby? What was your experience, and what was that like for you getting into the hobby, into the gaming community?
Sure. So my first experiences, I was younger. I was just getting out of high school. So when I began to visit the gaming shops and stuff like Games Workshop, and then of course our local shops here, which we have a lot in San Antonio, it was a little intimidating, seeing everybody playing and being so competitive. That was a new situation that I hadn't been in. But recently, as I'm noticing, as Kill Team is introduced, about a couple years ago, maybe even, I got super head over heels as a woman, like loving it. I was just obsessed. I played Kill Team almost every day with my fiance. I painted multiple armies. I was just all about it. And my experience has been awesome with the tabletop community. It actually helped me open up as a person, and it helped me, really define what my type of gaming style was for tabletop, especially. I had gotten into the competitive scene. My highlight of my tabletoping almost career was going to Austin, playing that tournament they had for charity. It was the Austin Pets charity tournament, and I ended up going there and taking first place, and it was just such a it was such a shock.
That was the Austin no-kill team.
There you go.
And you, Savannah, because I happened to come up there with you, because I knew you and Tommy was going to be there, and I came up to see y'all, and you won the whole thing as the only one there.
Yep, I was the only woman there, and it was just such a culture shock because I figured, I had seen some women in local shops in San Antonio, and I was like, okay, maybe that's kind of the norm, out of 1 in every 10 men, there's probably going to be a woman. But when I went up there were no women entering in the tournament, so it's kind of strange for me. But I guarantee you, I mean, the looks on their faces when everybody saw, like, hey, a woman just took y'all's first place. It was really cool.
The second year they did that tournament?
I'm sorry?
That was the second year they did that tournament, right?
I think it might have been, yeah, because it was 2019. I don't think it was 2020 yet, was it? It may have been. I'm not sure.
Definitely pre-COVID, and I think to add a little salt on the wound is that the woman the person that won the grand prize was also another woman who got the random raffle, which was a knife.
Sure. Oh, that knife? Yeah. Did you see what they painted that knife?
So the ladies just cleared out that entire tournament.
We both took the best prizes. It was awesome. I mean, I think it was one of the greatest points for women in Warhammer. I think even at LVO, I think it was either LVO or another event in Kill Team, a woman had placed top 5 for the entire event. It's starting to become more prevalent, and so. With my personal experience, they're all these guys in the community. They're my friends, my homies. We drink, we have drinks. We talk about Warhammer. We have our banter. We have all this stuff going on. And from my experience, it's been almost nothing but pleasant. Of course, there's some people you get on a table and they assume, oh, this is a girl. She doesn't know anything about Warhammer. She's going to mess up the rules. And they try to overtake you. But if you can be a strong woman and show that, I love this hobby as much as you do, and I love it.
That gives you that competitive edge, though, because if they think that about you, then you end up taking the whole tournament. I mean,
absolutely. I was playing Tyranids too, so everybody was kind of expecting for me to get out of there early because Tyranids at that time weren't very meta. The LVO results hadn't come out, so nobody knew. I won against Genestealer Colts, which are supposed to be my brothers. They're supposed to be my helpers, and I beat them in tournaments. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of lore accurate in a way.
That's all Tyranid propaganda. We don't buy into that.
That's awesome.
So, Miss Gabby, what was your personal stories about getting into the hobby? Let us know how that was for you, and any stories you want to share.
Well, my hobby that we do is I do the gathering, so that was just happened to be Jay already owned some cards, just kind of like you're socializing with them, you're just there hanging out, hey, you want to learn this game? And then from there, it's just been nonstop, us just trying to battle each other, and I'm always trying to destroy him. It's just, I love playing that game. That's my gaming that I've gotten into, and then recently just D&D, but like I said, that being on Roll20 with Mike and the guys, and that was awesome. But then going to Dragon Slayer just recently and playing in person is so just a whole different experience. And I mean, Jay did try to get me into Warhammer. He did try to get me into Blood Bowl, and I kept saying, oh, when they come out with goblins, then I'll play, or when they come out with this, and then they kept coming out with those armies. So now I'm like, when they come out with vampires, I'll play. But he tried to show me before, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't my cup of tea. I was just there, and I would always see him measuring and then trying to line up sight and all this, and it wasn't for me. And him painting it, and it was a little too much for me. But it's great. It's a great stress reliever. I see that he likes to do it. He's painting it, and I've enjoyed painting my little minis, so it is a great stress reliever on doing it. And then you're trying to get it right, and I would tell him, hey, your paint job looks good. It's fine like that. But then when I see mine, I'm like, oh, I messed up right there. I need to go back and use the base paint, and then I need to go back and repaint that and fix that. And now I've become trying to fix it properly.
And you just started painting. You're putting my paint to shame.
I did just start painting. I even went to like a D&D group, and I put some of the pictures there. I was kind of like proud. I'm like, oh my God, look at my work. Check it out. And then they were like, how long have you been painting? I was like 2 weeks. And they're like, oh my God, you have an eye for it. And I was like, maybe it's because I wear glasses. I don't know. I have 4 eyes, so okay. But that's my experience on it. It's just D&D, for what I've been learning, which the community has been so helpful with that. So I appreciate that. There's so many people that you could go to that are just willing to help you and give you advice on it. And it's just fun.
You know,
It's the
our,
whole role playing aspect of it.
our episode when we talked and when we did the sit and chat with you was probably the most engagement we've got out of any person listening to our broadcast out of all the episodes we've done. It was great. It was a great experience. And we have Anna Teresa, my wife. What was your first experience getting into the hobby as somebody that's never done any of this before? Which I find interesting. It's interesting that after as much time as you spent in the Army, to never being exposed to this kind of thing, considering, you know, the majority of us, even in San Antonio, are veterans. What was your experience getting into the game and your story?
As far as in gaming,
Yeah, getting into gaming.
for the most part, it was pretty good. I mean, most of it was very positive. There was a few negatives, but all in all, I think most of the community was pretty accommodating in teaching me. Most of the people I've gotten to know have been very open in teaching me. I think it was mostly finding the right games that I find interesting or find it. You pushed me very much into. I think you wanted me to enjoy 40K the most.
I've gave up on that.
You wanted me to. You really wanted me to.
You broke my heart, and then I
know.
gave up.
Yes, you were. You wanted me to love 40K that so much, and it just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah, but we enjoy Malifaux. We play Malifaux quite a bit.
I love Malifaux, and I didn't. It isn't my game, and I think that our son loves 40K, and his friends, and you passing that torch to them has reignited your joy of passing it on to somebody.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, but for the most part, I have found my niche in the community in other aspects. I've had a few negative encounters, but I think that goes with anything that you do.
Would you say, though, that your positive encounters or interactions with the community at large outweigh your negative?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that goes for anything. I think, I think that's just a few bad apples, or you're going to find that anywhere. That's just, par for the course. But I got stuck.
No, I think you're spot on, and I think that even as somebody as a guy that plays the game, I have my bad encounters occasionally too, but I think for the most part the community is great and positive, and those super rare bad encounters are so few and far between that they don't really matter. But I think your from my experience, and I may be wrong, I think your experience with gaming might be somewhat limited to you walking into the garage where all my models are, looking at me and going, "This room looks expensive," and then walking out.
Yeah.
And just for the audience, I do have some cognitive abilities that I sometimes get stuck in words. So it's not that I sundown. So,
but I think that's the good thing about the game, though, is that you've been able to use that as a way to keep your brain active, and even me, and I know Josh kind of hit this a little bit earlier, that with me, I have some issues with PTSD and depression and anxiety and stuff like that, which is why I got into the hobby, and it's helped me with my own issues as well. Through painting models and playing the game, it forces me to get out, and it's been very cathartic and therapeutic and very healthy for me to be part of the community in the game as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
All right, so I think we got some more questions, Mike.
I think, Josh, you got the next one?
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering, let's start, whoever wants to start off, let's go with Gabby, how accommodating do you think everybody is like in the local community? Whenever you go to like, do you feel frustrated when you're trying to learn rules to a new game or something like that, or are people for the most part helpful?
I feel for the most part everybody's been helpful. They've been more than helpful, and I always start off with like, "I'm sorry to bother you. I don't mean to ask this question," and they're like, "No," and they just want to give you all their knowledge, all their gaming experience that they know on the game. So just learning this thing, since it's really new to me, it's been great. Everybody's been more than accommodating with giving me advice on painting, what I should do, how. One of the little things with that spider that I painted, I did not know how to remove that little base that it came in. And, people were like, telling me, I needed like a tool to cut it. I ended up burning it off. I had to burn off that plastic because I had no idea what to do. I should have asked somebody before.
I think that might be just like a natural, I don't want to say like nerd reaction, but just someone who's passionate about something wants to share it with other people. So whenever you engage a lot of gamers
D&D.
around in the community, they want to tell you about stuff. You want to sit around and talk about Warhammer for 30 minutes, they want to. If you want to learn how to build models, they want to teach. You know?
And D&D especially.
I don't think it's very hard to get us talking about the game. I think most of us are looking for any opportunity to talk about it. Did you look at me in my shirt? All right, let's talk about my shirt, which is a Warhammer shirt.
What do you think, Savannah? How do you feel about that whole situation there?
So as far as accommodating, I feel like everybody is almost like over accommodating because this is, our passion. I mean, this is our hobby. This is our pastime. We all love Warhammer. So if I ask you a question like, what do you think, like as in, the chat, what do you think about Gene Stealer Cult? I feel like Gene Stealer Cult is insanely underrated. I feel like people don't really look at it often enough as a valuable, especially in Kill Team, but also overall, I mean, a great team. So I feel like the community has been very accommodating for me, especially. Like I said, of course, you get the few that are like, too much. Like, hey, by the way, this is how you play the game. Like, of course, I know how to play the game, but I'm a girl, so I'll let you go ahead and tell me how to play the game. But overall, I've had great experience. Everybody's been very friendly. They love to teach me the rules, and I love to learn the rules because I view myself as one of those people who's more of a competitive type gamer, wants to know the meta, wants to know what's really going on in the Warhammer scene. So I think the community has been great. I think that if you have any questions, whether man, woman, whatever you see yourself as, I mean, the community is going to accommodate you. The community is definitely going to answer your questions because this is something we all similarly love and like to continue to further our knowledge in, especially lore. Lore is a big one, that because I'm not as versed in the Warhammer lore, which is a little surprising to people, but that's something that people definitely love to tell you about. Like, oh, hey, you play Tyranids, but did you know they come from this and this and this and this, which is something that is very cool. So I feel like we're a very accommodating group.
So speaking of questions, before we get too far into this, if you're listening and you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat, and we'll ask the questions for you to our guests so you can get their perspective and have your questions answered. So please participate.
Please, that'd be cool.
There's a lot of chat action going on.
Yep, I'm kind of reading that. So if you have any questions, I'll answer them, and I'm sure these lovely ladies as well would love to answer these questions.
Okay, so now with our newest gamer, like Anna, if you were to walk into a game shop by yourself without Will, would you feel confident that you could talk to somebody in there and get some good knowledge and people would help you out?
I mean, as a person in general, I don't hesitate to just walk up to anybody and talk to people. So I would feel confident that I would ask somebody to help me out. In general, I feel there is a slight, I think there are sometimes barriers that in general I will be underestimated. As a female, sometimes in gaming, it will be assumed that I don't know about games. And in reality, I don't know about games as much because I am a new gamer. So is that assumption correct? Probably, because I don't know about games as much as Will does, but because I'm asking, I do think that people would accommodate me. I mean, I do think people would help me.
And I agree with that. I think for the most part, like especially if you go into a game store around town, it seems that the majority of people, even behind the counter, are willing to help.
Yes, no, I think that people are willing to help. Now, I have encountered it where people have assumed that I don't know things when I'm playing something. Like I was playing with our friend. We were playing a game of Malifaux, and somebody approached me and was like, "Oh, well," it was like trying to explain to me while we were in the middle of a game.
Someone you didn't know, though.
Yeah,
right?
somebody I didn't know, and they were like trying to explain to me how to play the game while we were in the middle of playing it. And I was like, no, I know we're in the middle of playing it. And it was fine, and and I know his intentions were probably not ill, and it's whatever. But I think it legitimately was, he was trying to be helpful. So
I can see how that situation could get misconstrued.
That may be breach of gamer etiquette, because I took the boys up to one of the local game stores yesterday at Dragon's Lair because we're doing the Mournival thing, and so I took the boys up there, and some random folks had come up to me and said some things about the game, and the boys had asked me about it afterwards, and I said, well, unfortunately the gentleman was wrong, but they had made mistakes in their game, but I didn't approach them to tell them that they were doing things wrong, because that was not my place, and I felt that was a breach of gaming etiquette to go up to people that I didn't know to tell them they were doing something wrong, because who am I to say how they enjoy the game? And so now maybe that's a personal thing. I'm not sure.
No,
but
it's wise. That's just good etiquette, or I would just say that's considerate. Just being a good considerate person.
Right, and I think it's just maybe rude, whether it be a man or a woman playing a game, to walk up and be like, "Hey, let me explain to you all the ways you're doing this wrong and tell you how to do it right." I think that's just not a good way to build a community and be very welcoming to people.
In general,
exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, but in general, I think that as a community, I've always felt pretty welcome. And I've always felt that I could get help, and I felt that I could always approach an employee or other gamers anywhere that with or without Will. And I've gone to many game stores. I mean, this was before I could. I can't drive anymore, but. When I could still drive, I've gone to game stores, with the kids by myself, and gamed without him all the time. And, I felt comfortable, seeking assistance when I didn't know something or whatever. And I always felt welcome. So, I never felt out of place or anything like that. So, yeah, I definitely think the gaming community, especially in San Antonio, is very welcoming.
I think one of the great things is we're sitting here talking and the chat is going. One of the people in the chat says that if it was not for, and I'm paraphrasing here, but Savannah and Tommy are the ones that got them into gaming. So, congrats, Savannah, for further contributing and growing the community.
I saw that. That was so sweet. Yeah. So I do like to advocate, especially for Kill Team, but I try to advocate for all Warhammer games, the AOS and such. But that's very cool. I saw that. That comment made me smile.
Well, I hate to point this out, but now he plays Big 40K, so he's ours now.
That's true. He belongs to us. One of us.
Yes, of course. And of course, he's playing Salamanders. So, I mean, if y'all want to claim the Salamanders cheese, y'all can go ahead.
He also plays Tyranids, Black Legion, and I may or may not have convinced him to move into Death Guard.
Oh my goodness, he's looking. He used to have a Death Guard army back in the day, and he recently saw some at Thomas Colvin's shop, so he's trying to buy it all back eventually. But yeah, he's obsessing over it right now. So
Papa
thanks, Will.
Nurgle loves and welcomes everyone.
I'm sure he does. But yeah, that was really cool of him.
Okay,
So.
moving on to the next question. Gabby, and of course we'll go around the table. One of the things that I love about Red Star is just that being in San Antonio, you get a very diverse group of people. You get people that were in the military, people that were not in the military, diversity in ethnicity, diversity in people that come from all over the country. Again, because we have so many military people, and also of gender. Now, we would love to have more female representation in the club, but which leads me to this question: is that and I'll start with Gabby. Gabby, like, how would you, as a female gamer, like if you were king of the world, like how would you go about attracting more to more female gamers, whether it be in your social club or your gaming club, I should say. Like how would Red Star grow its female membership?
I think y'all should just have someone like Savannah take the lead on maybe running a Kill Teams tournament. Actually have her run it. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Savannah. But
Oh my goodness.
I think doing something like that. I had even told Jay, I was talking about it, and I was like, they should have like a ladies' night and do something. But I know that Dragon's Lair, they do have like a ladies' night where they teach you things or mention some other store. But I think maybe doing that, having that in Red Star, maybe ladies tournament, or I don't know. I like themes. I like doing themes. So I don't know, like if y'all did like a tournament and it'd be like an 80s theme or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there on what I like.
Right. No idea is a bad idea.
So what I heard was you and these other ladies on this broadcast tonight want to start your own ladies' night of gaming. That's what I heard.
Yes.
Sure,
Well,
we could do that.
What piqued my interest is that Gabby was saying that there is a ladies' night, for instance, at Dragon's Lair, Alamo Ranch, I believe.
It's not that advertised.
Really,
I
with the
didn't know it
D&D,
existed.
a ladies D&D group.
Yeah, there's a ladies D&D group, and
Yes.
it's not, instead of having like an event and it's like, hey, come to our event. Gabby, if you would make inroads with them, then there's nothing that said that. Well, we have a bunch of potential future Red Star gamers that happen to play D&D, already in one location. So to be
One
just
thing
like
I wanted to do. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
no, just to be an advocate. You've been very from what we've seen on the Facebook group. You've been like super motivated, like for D&D. That we've seen. You post your minis, you post your game sessions and stuff. And of course, we ran through our Roll20 with me, you, and Josh, and Simon, and some other people. You've been like put it in fourth gear, and you're full steam ahead with that. With Dungeons
I'm
and Dragons.
loving it. I'm excited with it. And then I saw on that morning ball that I didn't really know it existed. It was, I guess it's called Middle Earth, but had they called it Lord of the Rings, I would have been all about it. Didn't know. I saw, I think Jake Flores is his name.
Yeah. Yep. Jake.
Had posted, and I fell in love with the whole everything he had about it. It had the little minis. I didn't even know, like, I didn't know that they really had Frodo and Gandalf and all the characters in there. I don't know. I didn't know it was like that. And then the terrain that they had for it, because I love that. I've always gotten things before, and I'm like, well, why can't you use this little hut for your Warhammer? And Jay's like, well, they're over here in space and they need craters. And
Right.
Oh, okay. But that's what I like about it. I like that you could use any terrain for D&D. I've seen them use so many different things, and it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna hit up the Dollar Tree and I'm gonna go buy all those little trees I see and stuff because it's okay. And I don't know. I saw that on his terrain when he did it, and so that's something that maybe I'd like to eventually would be my next gaming learning experience. Would be kind of learning.
Jake is
Rings.
a big fan of teaching people. He's a huge advocate for the games that he plays, especially Middle Earth.
He taught me how to play Kill Team.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Let's see, Savannah. How about you? What would you do to attract more female gamers to Red Star or any gaming social group, really?
So I had tried before, actually, before this whole COVID thing, but it kind of interrupted it a little bit. But reach out, like I know some women in AOS, because my thing, honestly, total transparency, like I play the Magic and I've played D&D. I do like the other games, but really my heart is in Warhammer and Games Workshop and stuff like that. So I've tried to reach out and got a little group together. I would just kind of commit to that. So because of COVID, I didn't quite commit, but if we commit to getting these women who are already interested in games and already interested in maybe the fantasy genre, and we can kind of coax them over to this Warhammer genre of gaming, I think we can go ahead and do that. If we just commit a little bit more and get a ladies' night going, which I would love to host, but that's some pressure. We'll talk about that. But if we could get something like that going, I think a lot more people, especially women, would fall in love with it. If we can go ahead and get like just a women's group going, so we can talk and say, hey, we're all women, we all experience the exact same type of diversity and challenges and, you know, successes in this type of group, you know, that's mostly dominated by men. We can, you know, we share the same experiences and we can come together and kind of have a group and talk about it. And you know, what inspired me to kind of do something like that was, like I said, that woman had, I forget her name, I apologize. In the LVO situation, she had ranked so high in Kill Team, and I was like, wow, you know, women can truly win. Like, women can dominate this situation more than people let us, you know, we're led to believe. But I think just coming together, committing to one night a week, or maybe if it's easier, one night a month, us, you know, women get together, we play the game, we learn how to play the game. I'm super, you know, knowledgeable in Kill Team. Not as much Warhammer 40k, big 40k, it's a lot, but I know the rules. I have a rule book, I read it. Crusade, I'm pretty knowledgeable in. I've played lots of Crusade games, but just getting together, just committing, just having that one night a week or one night a month that we get together and we all play and we all have a good time. I think that would bring a lot more to the community, doing something like that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you would get a lot of engagement, a lot of people, especially if we use like, you know, Facebook to advertise and to market that. I think that's a great idea. Anna Teresa, what about you? What would some of the things that you know, that we could do to attract females to our game club? Or something that you would like to see other, you know, some people do that would, you know, perhaps pique your interest?
So I do think that something like a ladies' night or something like that would be a good idea. You know, things like the 40K and the thing. I think a lot of times the reason why, like for me, 40K and those bigger games, it's not necessarily that I know, like for me, a lot of that is the tactical aspect. It's the things. It's not that I'm not capable and that women in general aren't capable of thinking that way. You know, when I was in the military and whatnot, I mean, it literally was my job to think and strategize that way. It's just not something that I'm interested in doing anymore for fun. And so that's the only reason why I'm not interested in doing that anymore. And so for me, that's not something that I want to do as a hobby. And it's not that I'm not good at it anymore. So, or don't want to do that for fun. So that's why I think maybe some women aren't interested in doing that anymore, or don't want to do that. So I think like a women's night would be fun to maybe rotate games and maybe do D&D or do various different games, do skirmishes or do, you know, introduce them to different types of tabletop gamings to maybe see and rotate through games to give them a broader view of what kind of games are available.
More exposure.
Yeah, more exposure to the different kinds of games that are available out there, to maybe see and give them an idea of what kind of games are out there, and you know, that they don't just think that, there's only one thing out there, or, not just one, that they don't believe that,
40K dominates everything, and
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the only game that exists.
Right.
I think also, and I don't want to be presumptuous here, but I think also one of the things that you and I have talked about is that the amount of time that goes into a 40K game, where it could take 2+ hours to complete a game, where you tend to enjoy more of the games that last for 30 to 45 minutes, like Malifaux or maybe Kill Teams or something like that.
Where and then there's also different stages in a lot of women's lives where, I know when I had young children or teenage children or grandchildren, or different stages in women's lives where they might not have the amount of time in different stages in their lives where they don't have the time or the energy to spend 2 hours standing at a table.
Well, I know there's times that you went with me to game where you've had to leave early because of dinner and get Oscar to bed and things like that.
Exactly. So, just give them something that they would enjoy, but maybe not eat up that much time. Give them a little bit more options and more, give them an insight into gaming that they could enjoy, that maybe they didn't know was even an option. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
More exposure to the games that exist
that they aren't aware of.
To help them discover what they may like.
Exactly.
Yeah, and see that brings up another good point that I kind of wanted to bring up, is that, like, if there's not much exposure, what could our current game companies do to increase exposure, specifically to ladies in the hobby? Like, is there like different kind of models you guys would like to see? Is there, like, I don't know, like merch or something?
Well, I mean, and that's the other thing is that you see these these boxes of different things, and you don't really get the whole concept of what it really is. I mean, I don't think you really understand what these boxes are of all these models, and what the game consists of if you don't understand. If you don't really have somebody that's into these gaming, like somebody like me that's never known anybody that's into games, into Magic, into D&D, into any of these things, and you're completely outside of the gaming world, all of this is such a foreign concept coming into this, and really when you say tabletop gaming, I mean, it's hard to explain that to people.
Like, what the shit does that even mean?
Yeah, like, I mean,
exactly.
I mean,
Clarify.
When you say tabletop gaming, I mean, I'm thinking, okay, Monopoly.
Well, yeah.
I mean, like, I mean, as somebody, like, for me, when I talk to my children about that, they're like, okay, like what, like Clue? And they don't understand what I mean by that, and so. So to give people that are on the outside looking in, to give them a better understanding of what that means.
Well, let me ask you this, because a question is just proposed in the chat from one of our listeners. It said, would a female audience be more likely to join Warhammer if the models were more cute?
I saw that.
I think so.
I know.
So Savannah, as somebody that has been on both sides of this world, how would you answer that question?
I don't know if I'm more the better person to ask, because it's a little different for me because I've been in the community. As in more cute. So when I look at a Warhammer model and I'm waiting for the release, like, I think, what is it? The new Tech Marine came out recently.
Yeah.
Right, of course. Of course, we're all like gagging because as if they needed a new model. But
I think it looks great.
I agree. I think it looks awesome. I think it looks crazy, ridiculously cool. If you made that model cute, I wouldn't buy it. If you made like any Sigmar models cute, what are they called? The tree. What are they called? The Sigmar, the tree.
Sylvanet.
Yeah, there you go. If they had made those more cute, I wouldn't buy them. So me personally, I don't necessarily. I mean, if they had a cute, like, a unicorn model for some of the Sigmar, the fantasy side, sure, because that fits. But I don't think cute necessarily fits along with the grim darkness or, you know, the space war or anything like that. I don't think it necessarily fits. But if you had a cute model, like, I think the red Gobbo is cute, and he's not supposed to be, but I think he's gosh darn adorable.
He's Santa, so that's a different kind of cute.
Well, I mean, I think
He's kind of cute.
I think it's more. I guess let me ask, kind of similar to what I think maybe James might have been alluding to, but like, do the models have or would a female gamer be more inclined to play a faction that was female, like Sisters of Battle?
Yes. So I was talking to Tommy about this actually earlier. So it is for me personally, and I'm sure I don't want to generalize for women in general, but for me it's aesthetics, absolutely. So I'm interested in Kill Team more about who's efficient and who's going to do their job, who's going to hold their objectives. But right now I'm painting Sister of Silence because they're awesome women. They're fighting women. They're one of the most elite women in the game. Lore wise, because of course they're the custodes and all that, and they're part of that. So the Sisters of Silence, I'm having a lot of fun because they're women. I can relate to that. I can relate to they want to kick ass and all that stuff.
But how do you feel about the fact that they're not allowed to talk?
I'm not gonna touch on that. I mean, should I be allowed to talk right now? I'm not even necessarily sure. But of course, you know, I have my opinions. I mean, if we're going to talk about that, Slaanesh are allowed to talk. I mean, they're allowed to take over your entire soul. Slaanesh are also a good thing. They're women. They're kind of perceived as the demons. They're perceived as the risque. Do I think it's a little sus that they made some of the women models the most demonic and manipulating models in the game? Sure, but... you know, at least they put them in there. I think it's cool to have the models that are, you know, definitely have the women figure and all that.
To be fair, Slaanesh is neither male nor woman.
Sure. I'm sure the big old biddies are neither men or women's, but looking at the demonettes, what are we going to think of when we look at those?
So Miss Gabby, as somebody that's just now exploring the world of gaming and the gaming community at large, do you feel that you would be more inclined to get in if there were more more female models that would that attract you to the game, or no?
No, I'm actually I like both models. I like that they're more when they look like they're stronger, when they look like they're more gross. I don't know, that's what attracts me to them. I'm like, oh, that thing looks sick. I want to paint it. I want that one because he looks like he's gonna destroy somebody. But I did add my own spin on it, so did add glitter to them because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna bling this shit up. That's what I did on that one. But I don't think if they feminized it more that it would actually make me want to buy them. I'm actually comfortable with going in there and getting what it has in it. And they don't have it advertised to just men. There's not like a guy holding a model saying, hey, buy this, you know, it's gonna make you stronger or something. It's just the model itself, which is what I like.
I think also in Wizards of the Coast defense, they do a lot better in the diversity of their models. They have a lot.
Well, a lot better now, I think.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, now they do.
Yeah,
for instance, female Stormcast. Yeah, female Catechin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even with Wizards of the Coast, for the longest time, the only thing they had was chainmail bikinis as a way to introduce female characters.
Yeah, as if that was going to protect you in battle, you know.
Yeah. But I think that's a trope that expands not just in tabletop gaming, but also in
games,
video games as well.
Yeah.
That's very prevalent in those communities as well.
But I would also argue to say that I am not, you know, I am one of those people who are guilty of choosing a character who is more like, she's got the chainmail bikini over the big clunky armor, so I'm going to choose her because she looks, you know, hotter or better or, you know, more feminine. So I'm guilty of that. So it's kind of hard for me to say on one way or the other whether I choose somebody who is cuter or somebody who is more gross and demonic. You know, I like both sides of it. I think it's all good, to be honest.
All right, that's great feedback, and I think Josh is going to take us home. He has one more question for our panelists tonight.
I really just curious, like, so how has gaming in general helped you in other ways besides just like having fun and blowing off steam? Have you guys has anybody, and this is going to Will and Mike as well, like what? Because we were talking about, how Will, you were saying about the PTSD thing, and I was saying it helps me relax out of work. What does everybody get out of this whole subject here?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and let's take that to our guest speakers tonight first. So, Miss Savannah, would you like to answer that question first?
Sure. How has that helped me in my general life? Well, especially on the painting and building aspect. So when I first got into the hobby, that was one of the things I was like, I'm not doing that. Just straight up. It takes hours and hours and hours to put together. Well, for me personally, just to put together models and to paint them, and then you have to go on and learn your faction, and then you have to read your multiple books, just to learn your faction. So for me, it was too much. And then over time, I went ahead and I learned the patience. I learned to have the dedication and stuff to have for the hobby. And the hobby did overall improve that for me. I was more able to actually take the time to do something that I wanted to do. I found it easier to invest in a hobby I enjoyed after participating in Warhammer, whether it be Kill Team, 40K, Sigmar, anything like that. It definitely taught me the patience to go ahead and sit down. Like, Slaanesh was my first, and as everybody knows, you need like 40 demonettes on that table just to begin to play. So I had to put together those demonettes, I had to position them, I had to paint them, and then I had to learn how to play them. And now I play AdMech for my 40K army, so I have like 3 different books. And Vigilus just rotated out, so I don't have that anymore, but I still have the Engine War, I still have the main rule book, I still have those sort of things to look at. So it just taught me a lot of patience, not only in gaming, but in my entire life. You know?
So what it sounds like you're saying to me is, at least what I'm hearing, is that it taught you the patience to be able to find another hobby that you're also interested in, and sit down and embrace that, even though that it's going to be tough going forward. You know how much this helped you. So
absolutely. So I could just sit here and I could play video games all day. Like, I could play Overwatch, I could play these games that I have, like Warzone, Call of Duty, and those are instantly gratifying. But if I take the time to put together these Warhammer models and I paint them, I prime them, I paint them, I learn how to play with them, that is more so gratifying, more rewarding than anything I could do with a video game. And that's just so much more valuable to me that I never thought I could have. And so it's just like something I appreciate now.
Awesome. Super interesting. Exactly what I was kind of looking for.
Yeah.
Miss Gabby, do you have anything to add to that question?
I just want to say that it actually, just with the gaming and the aspect, it gives me a break from reality. So
yeah,
for those 4 hours that I'm playing, and they just fly by. I mean, even though it's 4 hours, they fly by because I'm off on an adventure. I'm freaking kicking ass. I'm talking shit and I'm meeting new people and I'm just in my element. I'm having fun and just all in good fun with whether they're people that I know or people that I've just met on going over to the comic book stores. It's everybody wanting to learn that. So y'all coming together in the same interest. It's what I like, being out of my comfort zone, meeting those other people that are sharing the same interest. They're going to be the same little goofy goober that I'm going to be when I'm there. And there's no judgment. It's just all in good fun. And it's bringing the community together by playing games. So, yeah, getting that little escape is always good and a great stress reliever.
Anna, you got anything to add to it?
So for me, just like Will, I'm a vet. And with my PTSD and my cognitive abilities from my time over in Iraq and everything, the painting and the modeling itself are part of my physical therapy to develop my hand-eye coordination, and also good for my therapy to just kind of keep everything flowing, I guess, and just kind of a stress reliever, and I don't know, just it's good for me. It's good. It's good for both of us. It's
It's a healthy outlet.
it is a healthy outlet, and it's a good way for us both to connect and to concentrate on something, um, and it's good. It's been a good connector for both of us to work on something, to concentrate on the details, and I enjoy the really fine. He thinks it's insane, but I paint little eyeballs on the models, and eyebrows.
Oh, you're
and-
super into the details for
Oh
sure.
yeah. So it's a stress reliever for me, and so I enjoy doing that, and it helps me with all my other issues. So it's been great for me, the hobby in itself. So
Well, where I'm the very opposite of that. I'm of the persuasion that if you can't see it from the other side of the table, I don't need to paint it. But I agree, and I know we talked about this before. But you know, and as same as my wife, when I got back from Iraq, my doctor was like, "Hey, you need to get a hobby that keeps your hands busy and keeps your mind busy." And when I moved to San Antonio in 2007, I met Anthony and some of the other local guys, and they're like, "Hey, you know, why don't you come play this game with us?" Because I played D&D at the time, and so now I got to build models and hang out with guys, and it got me out of my comfort zone and got to kind of, you know, like Gabby said, for that little bit of time, I kind of lose myself in whatever I'm working on, and probably the only way my wife is able to tolerate me is because I come out here and nerd out for a little while and paint my models. So it's healthy, and I get to meet a bunch of cool people. I think some of the best people that I've ever met in my life, and I can say that with all honesty, that some of the best friends I've ever met in my life, like Josh and like Mike and Anthony and Alfonso and some of these guys, I've met through gaming and through rolling dice with these guys, and they're some of the best people on this planet. And I'm very fortunate that because of this community and because of this hobby that I have them in my life. And I'm also very fortunate that I get to share this hobby with my wife.
That was sweet. That was
Very cute.
yeah, that was very cute. I would say, yeah,
I'll be here all week.
I would say that I would echo what Will said. The people that I've met especially through Red Star, have all been just the best to hang out with. I don't think I've had a session with while joining this community where you played that guy or you had a negative experience. Anytime I would go out to the tabletop, we would, you know, have a good time, laughs, have some food, crack on each other. Nobody's going so hard and the games aren't sweaty. It's just I look forward to it and I enjoy it. And I love the hobby. If I didn't do this, I kind of have to have, I don't like having idle hands. So if I have some downtime, then I like to put on a movie and then put some headphones on and just paint and paint and paint. So I've been doing it. I've been playing Warhammer for a long time, and I love it. But my first love is D&D, as Josh well knows. So I'm always down for that. Writing, I got multiple small episodic campaigns that I've written and ready to go. So I like playing with new people because then I can do those stories again. You know, because somebody they haven't experienced it yet. So
What about the Pokemon scene with your daughter? Do you play much of that?
So that's more my daughter's thing.
Yeah.
Because she practices online and she does great, right? And
Yeah.
it's easier to buy decks online than to buy the physical copies.
So easy.
So we just got her a real meta busting. What is it?
Dragapult, I think.
No,
right?
the Dragapult was the last one, but that one
Uh-huh.
rotated out. It's
Did
it's Eternatus, the Eternatus VMAX.
I'm playing that one as well. That's
Okay.
crazy. I'm playing that exact deck.
So we just got the physical one, and it's like
That's
this is how
cool.
much I love you. I love you $150 worth of this
That
deck.
deck is expensive. Like
That
I
deck was
pulled some of those
expensive.
cards from the newest set, and that's an expensive deck.
That's an expensive deck. When
Not
you
as
need four.
expensive as Warhammer. I'll say.
When
but-
you need 4 of this Pokemon called Crobat, and they're going for 12, 14 a pop. You know,
they're so hard. But in the online, they're just packs that you get.
they're just packs.
really
Yeah, and you could buy packs. You can buy like 100 for $25 on eBay. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean,
Anyway.
I've got a family that games, and I do have a couple of decks that I've built. They're really crappy, so when I play her, I just get stomped. But I do, like in November or December, I want to buy a competitive deck that'll be Dad's, that I can be like, all right, let's do this.
I don't know. There's some more because I'm playing that same deck she is, and there's some competitive ones that can top it.
The
but-
Centiscorch VMAX
The
one is
Centiscorch is pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. But yeah, anyway, the
Yeah.
Warhammer chat.
Back to Warhammer.
But Mike, your daughter keeps winning all those tournaments, man. I don't think you're going to be able to hang.
Well, she doesn't. Well, she doesn't. She's been playing. She's placed really well, but it's there's not a lot of juniors, kids. So she's been playing adults like practically every Friday. So when she goes back, I think, and she's playing her peers, I think she's gonna just really kill it. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Well, Mom and
That's
Daddy
very
are super proud of her.
cool. Oh, I'm proud of her. That's cool.
All right. I gotta say, guys, this is for our first awesome show, and thank you so much to the guests. You guys were fantastic. Thank you so much. Do we have any? Yeah. Anybody's got any closing thoughts?
Anybody? It was great. I enjoy the hobby. Thank you for having me. That's my closing. It was very fun.
I don't really have anything to add. I feel like we summed up the subject pretty well. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
I think it's been great, and I think it's been all said, and I could not be happier with how this, as our inaugural YouTube episode went. I could not be happier.
Yay! To many more.
Absolutely.
Yes, to many more. Absolutely.
And thank you, ladies, for coming out and educating us and helping us to grow our community and be more inclusive to having our female community members come out and game with us.
Absolutely. Look forward to some all-female videos on this channel maybe one day.
Hey, that's absolutely an option. So if y'all want to make that happen, let's do it, and we'll get those videos uploaded. Or as some of our commenters said, Savannah, now you got to start running tournaments.
Oh gosh, yeah, right. Because I'm such a rule reader. I'm like, did you read the book? Let me pull out the rule book. I'm so bad. But yes, I would love to. I know my rules very well, so if we want to start tournaments, we can.
And for those that can't see the comments, Miss Gabby said that they are about to start another San Antonio Blood Bowl league. So if y'all want to be part of that, join Red Star on Red Star Gaming Group on Facebook, and be part of our community on not just on the broadcast, but also in our everyday lives as being part of our group. Join our club, come out and roll dice and play some games with us.
And create some content.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to do your hobby things and submit them so we can stock up the hobby tips playlist on Red Star Gaming's YouTube channel.
I'm too lazy to make up all these videos, so y'all got to start posting them and send them to us.
I will.
Alamo City Blood Bowl group on Facebook, Simon says. So, Alamo City Blood Bowl group.
All right. Yeah, we are out. Everybody have a good night, and thanks for joining in.
Y'all have a good night. Thanks for listening.
Night, thank you.
Nighty night, y'all.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, we are ended.